how important is saturation in a mastering chain? Now, here's the thing with saturation in the mastering chain. Like, saturation in the digital world doesn't really compare with saturation out the box. Now, I use the HG-2, Blackbox HG-2. That's an incredible saturation box. Now, the way I use it, I'll come out of the box, I'll hit that. I use it as at the start of my chain rather than the end of my chain. I use it at the start of the chain, and it's almost like, think of it as, here's a digital mix, I'm going into the HG2, I'm turning it on, I'm activating this warm, lovely glow and rich harmonics in the high end. That's what I'm adding with it. That's what I'm aiming to achieve. I'm turning, it's almost like having an analog button where it's like, right, this is digital, run into it, bosh, now we have analog. That's kind of how it's used. So I'm setting the tone kind of thing for the rest of the mastering chain. So I set the tone, now I go into the rest of the mastering chain. So that's that. Now, the reason I phrased this question as good saturation is because there's a lot of bad saturation, and there are units out there, and I've used a lot of them, and I've gone, that's not the sort of sound that I want. The HG2, by the way, is incredible. It's one of the best I've used, and to be honest, one of the more affordable kind of saturation boxes. Now, next door in Studio A, we've got the Whitestone P331. That's incredible, and the Vertigo VSM, both incredible saturation boxes. I actually really like this one, and I know I'm turning this into a HG2 review here, but I really like this one for the simplicity of it. I know exactly what, when I go into it, turn it on, I can crank up that saturation, turn it in, and basically give myself that warm, glossy glow. So for me, saturation is so important in a mastering chain. And the thing with it is I wouldn't recommend people go, all right, saturation is really good in the mastering chain. Okay, let's get a saturation plugin. It's very different. And I know that myself from working in the box and working out the box. It's a very different tone that you get from this unit compared to what you get in the box using the plugin, for instance. Now, don't get me wrong, the plugin is incredible compared to it. It really does match up really well, but it lacks what all saturation lacks, and it lacks that definition that you get from these sorts of units. So when it comes to how important is it, for me, it's incredibly important. It is part of the unique sound that I get, and the reason I get the sound that I get is partly down to a unit like that being so unique in the way that it sounds.